by Reverend Robert Stoll, who is with the Trinity Episcopal Church, and Commissioner Sandra Bowden will lead us in the pledge to the flag.
Let us pray. Lord God, we thank you for bringing us safely through the night, and we ask your grace and protection for us throughout this day. We thank you for the opportunity to serve you and the people of Indian River County. Bless our county commissioners and all those who work to serve those of us who live here. We ask your presence to give our commissioners wisdom in all of their deliberations this day. Give us all grace to be just and upright in our dealings, full of compassion, and ready to do the best to serve all the peoples of our county. Guide and direct those making presentations and those making decisions at this meeting this morning, that what is decided and accomplished may be for the betterment of our life together in Indian River County. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Reverend Stoll.
Thank you. Please join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We're getting there.
We have no additions or, well, we do have a deletion, I'm sorry. There's a deletion item 9B wants to be deferred to April 11th. May I have a motion
So
to
move.
approve the agenda? All in favor say aye. Aye. Proclamations and presentations. I have a presentation of a proclamation designating the month of March 2006 as American Red Cross Month, and I have Sarah Tippett-Rouet who will accept, and you can wait at that podium and I'll read this. This is a proclamation designating the month of March 2006 as American Red Cross Month. Whereas for more than 89 years, the Red Cross of Indian River County has been the place where citizens join together and the generosity and compassion of the American people finds purpose. And whereas this year is the 125th anniversary of the first American Red Cross, and we honor the role of the North Treasure Coast Chapter's contribution to making Indian River County and America a stronger, safer, and healthier place. And whereas the North Treasure Coast Chapter has more than 500 volunteers and 8,000 donors and provides valuable tools and education to individuals, families, workplaces, and schools, making us all stronger and more resilient. Now therefore be it proclaimed by the Board of County Commissioners of Indian River County, Florida, that the month of March 2006 be designated as American Red Cross Month in Indian River County, and the Board urges its citizens to continue to volunteer their time and give generously to the American Red Cross and its local offices, adopted this 14th day of March, and signed by myself and the rest of the Commission. Would you like to say a few words?
Yes, thank you so much. Just want everyone to remember that unfortunately hurricane season is less than 90 days away. We're very hopeful this year that maybe won't be like the last two, but please make sure everyone is being prepared, making their plan, building their kit, volunteering and getting trained. We have all sorts of training classes both in disaster education and in preparedness for those events that could happen at home, first aid and CPR. We appreciate the support of the county and the commissioners. We did a great job with Wilma. I applaud my volunteers. We were able to respond with only local volunteers, which was only 197 local volunteers who turned out, and it was a much better response. We're learning, unfortunately, trial by hurricane, and we appreciate the support we get. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I give you this?
Yes.
My photograph. You can come up closer if you like with the camera. Thank you very much.
Ours made through.
Function up there.
Is it radio?
It's working.
Good.
I was at their fundraiser at the Sebastian Elks, and I won a satellite radio.
Oh.
Well, I won. I won it in auction, so it wasn't free. Thank you very much. Item 5B is a presentation of the Top Restored Beach Award from American Shore and Beach Preservation Association. Mr. Gorham.
Welcome home.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, you have something for the Red Cross, and now I have something for you. On March 1st through the 3rd, the American Shore and Beach Preservation Association had its annual meeting in Washington, D.C. At that meeting, our sectors 1 and 2 beach restoration project was selected as one of the top 4 restored beaches nationwide. The ASBPA's selection was based on the performance of the project in protecting the uplands in the area during our 2004 hurricanes, and also for its environmental performance in enhancing sea turtle nesting. I was able to attend that meeting and accept this award on behalf of Indian River County, and I'd like to pass the award on to the Commission and then read you the award citation.
Oh, good.
Nice picture.
Oh, beautiful. Looking good.
Less than a mile south of Sebastian Inlet, the Indian River County Sectors 1 and 2 project area lies within the Archie Carr National Wildlife Refuge, home to the highest density sea turtle nesting in the Western Hemisphere. Planning and sensitivity to environmental issues resulted in a turtle-friendly beach project. Monitoring showed that turtle nesting and hatching success increased after the project was completed, and nesting and hatching success was higher in the project area than on the adjacent beaches. In Florida's historic 2004 hurricane season, the project area survived direct hits by the Category 2 Hurricane Francis and the Category 3 Hurricane Jean without any erosion of the dune or erosion damage to upland structures, faring far better than many other areas of Indian River County that experienced significant wave damage to the dunes and upland structures. This being our very first beach project, I was particularly pleased to see it honored by a national organization.
Well, very nice. Must have been exciting up there. How was Washington?
It was very nice. We had a great time. The weather was good. No cherry blossoms, though.
No cherry blossoms.
Yet? Not early.
Thank you for going.
Hey, Jonathan, let me give you a
Absolutely.
round of applause.
Good work. You know, in addition to that, Mr. Chairman, we had the opportunity to go talk to some of the people from the DEP, and they are very, very pleased with the beach quality sand that on our other projects. They obviously, you hear the nightmares of counties to the south, and you're to be commended on that. They're very satisfied with our performance on everything but one issue, and but we're going to monitor them. The
Thank
reefs.
you.
So
Always nice to hear something good from the DEP.
yes, it was good. Very complimentary.
Thank you, Jonathan. Item number 6, we have no minutes to approve. Item number 7, consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
I think I should pull D for separate consideration. Just, I think I should abstain from that.
Okay. Any others? May I have a motion?
Move to approve.
Second. Motion and a second to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item D. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Item D.
Do you have anything to say about that?
It was a very good trip, and y'all should have gotten the email. I emailed Kim. I emailed it to Kim. Kim emailed everything that transpired. We should know something from the DEP tomorrow, is what I was told by Scott Woolham.
Would you like to tell the audience why you went?
Sure. What we're trying to get accomplished is you have 102nd Terrace that goes north of County Road 510, and then you have 101st Avenue that goes south of, 512, and then 101st Avenue that goes south off of 512. The roads are approximately 300 feet apart, which, and in the future, what that's going to pose is 2 traffic lights within 100 yards of each other. And with the congestion and the 4-laning taking place to improve access to the north with a light, where we're already putting a light at 101st, it really just makes practical sense, and prudence would suggest to try to line the 2 roads up. I do have the information going back to 1996, whenever Commissioner Fran Adams went up there, and I have the transcripts of the meeting about them talking about the Kurochi property that we were able to pull. And in fact, there was dialogue. That's how basically we got the North County recreation sites. And all this is continuing that dialogue and the understanding that we had whenever the state approved the purchase of the Kurochi property. So here, this is the actual transcripts of the meeting talking about what Fran had started. And this is the actual agenda that they passed. And this is the that's the backup material, and this is the agenda. So it was a good meeting. It was a long drive. It was 6 hours up. We left at 4:30 in the morning. Stayed there till about 2 o'clock and got back right about 7 o'clock in the evening. And it was a good trip, though.
What about a response from them? Are they willing to go along with your proposal?
Well, that's the question was, and that's why we stayed up there for an extra hour or two,
was that we would have to determine whether it was an uphill or downhill battle. And so we went back to the transcripts to find out the intent, and they said, well, on first blush reading this, it looks like it's a downhill instead of an uphill battle. Now, they had to take it from there to their legal department, and we're still working through the bureaucracy. May get told no, but I couldn't pass up the opportunity without trying to make it a little bit better on County Road 512.
All right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I appreciate your enthusiasm and really hard work, and it is a long trip to Tallahassee. But one of the points I want to again make is that we live in our district, but we are not a charter county, and we represent the whole county. You don't just represent your constituents in your district no more than I do, because I have, and you do. We all represent the county and try to do it in the best manner for the county. And if you went up to represent the county, I think we should have had a heads up on it. And I think we're talking about that. But if you're negotiating for the county and you're taking staff with you, I think we should have a vote on that. No more than I should take off and go off and do something in the beach in my segment or anything like that without notifying anybody else. We only have action as a commission. Sure. No single commissioner has any authority to take any action or negotiate on any cause for this commission.
Absolutely.
And so all this information that you have and you've been working on, it looks like you had time to bring this to us.
Commissioner, you voted to approve this.
I know, but I'm saying now it's coming back as after the fact we want to be paid for it. And it probably should have been under your matters, Commissioner Matters, not under the consent agenda. And I appreciate you pulling it.
Well, sure.
But we are not a charter government, and we do not just represent our constituencies in the district we live. And that's my personal point of view, and I think the commission policy reads like that.
Mr. Chairman?
You may.
No, commissioners, everybody had the opportunity to, in fact, vote on this alignment whenever we bought the property from Anson, whenever we gave him the impact fee credits, whenever we talked about it. I had the picture that I brought out. And every one of the commissioners, we voted to purchase his land, give him and get some of his land in exchange for impact fee credits. All the commission liked the idea at the time, and really, I believe, gave staff direction to try to pursue the opportunity of lining these two up. And so, as far as given the appearance that I went off like a loose cannon to Tallahassee on a personal vendetta.
No, let's don't put anything like that in my mouth.
Okay.
Let's not interrupt one another.
Thank you.
Well, but when someone says something like that, it needs to be clarified.
As far as me, just going off on something that, woke up one Tuesday morning with nothing better to do, it wasn't that way. It was the opportunity I was up there the week before with the chamber, and I had the opportunity to meet whenever the staff said they could meet. And quite frankly, I just did not have the time to work at the pace of government, is what we had to strike.
And I
out
appreciate your enthusiasm, but I've been to Washington with you, and he even lobbies a taxi driver.
That's right. That's right.
We need to do it in an orderly fashion, and from now on,
okay.
Would you please, if you plan to go again, don't do it on the spur of the moment unless you let us all know. And
I will do my best, but understand that it was not me setting that meeting. DEP. It was the DEP telling me when they could meet with all the department heads.
And I don't want to belabor this, but you did take staff.
I
did. You did leave at 4 in the morning, and I think unless it's an emergency on Highway 60, that's foolhardy.
Because it's not State Road 60?
Because I travel Road 60 weekly, and there are deer on the road, there are all kind of things, and it's dangerous. And every other time I cross that road, there are accidents.
Maybe I'll talk to them about that also.
Did you see any deer on the road?
I did. We saw some deer
Yes,
at
they're
the
there
Purple
all the
Reserve
time.
on 95. Yeah, it was nice.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Well, thank you for going.
As I went through Gainesville.
And you will try to keep us apprised and all.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Hopefully we'll know something tomorrow, and I'll let you know.
No, I mean when you're planning a trip, let us know.
As best I can. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. I need a motion on this, and you don't wish to
I'm
make
going to
it?
abstain just because.
Make it. Need a motion to approve item D. Motion fails for lack.
I'm good with that. Let's move on.
Come on, guys.
I'm waiting for the busy side down here to make a motion.
Need a motion to approve this for Wesley.
Well, I thought Tom would make the motion.
Since when do you think
Sandra,
like me?
would you care to make a motion?
No, we've already said he couldn't go.
I'll make a motion.
A motion?
I'll go ahead and second it.
Thank you so much. A motion.
I see the error of my ways now. I just should have taken staff and went out to promote the urban service voter situation.
Absolutely, without telling anybody.
Then I could have had somebody help me set up the computer. But I did learn something. I know how to run a PowerPoint now.
Y'all are terrible.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries 4-0 with...
No, I oppose.
Oh, you oppose? I'm
Yeah.
sorry. I'm sorry. Motion carries
3-1.
3-1 with Wesley abstaining.
Thank you.
Moving right along. Item 8, we have nothing under constitutional officers. We have no public hearings. Item 9B has been deferred, 9B1. C1 is a public notice items. Notice of scheduled public hearing for March 21st, 2006. The Lockwood Lane Development Group, LLC, requests to rezone approximately 291.11 acres of property from PD, Planned Development Residential, the Colony Golf Course Community, to PD, Planned Development Residential, called Turtle Creek Preserve, and to obtain conceptual and preliminary PD plan approval for Turtle Creek Preserve. Item 10, County Administrators Matters, Satellite Office Space.
Yes, Commissioners. Tax Collector Charlie Sembler is looking at his Ryanwood location. He's looking at maybe moving it further west, and he had asked if we had any need for a west satellite office. I have talked to my staff at this time with the new administration building. We do not think we will need it now. I have to deal with the constitutional officers, but he just wanted to make sure that since he was looking that he made sure he took into consideration all the other governmental interests. And at this time, it looks like we do not have a use, but some of the constitutionals might. And we're going to work together with Mr. Sembler at finding out what the needs are, so we could maybe have a joint complex in the future out west, which I think will be in the best interest of the community.
You're talking about building something out there or just renting a space?
He is looking at renting a space right now. We're looking at all options. I believe he's looking at all options. If there was a piece of property that was reasonable, and right now there doesn't seem to be anything that's reasonable out there, so it'll probably he'll be leasing.
What area in West County is he looking at? He's now in Ryanwood, right? He wants to go further west?
He's looking at all the options. He's looking west of Ryanwood because of the population growth. He just thought it was good intergovernmental coordination. He wanted to make sure that all the other governmental agencies knew, so that if we did a complex, it would be all together, and the public would only have to go to one location.
Good. Okay. Any comments or questions?
No, I just had the opportunity to talk to him about it, and there is some North County joint offices, property appraiser, supervisor of elections, tax collector, utilities, and he was just, before he stepped out, and he didn't want somebody to come back and say, hey, why didn't we know? And so he's letting everybody know.
Good idea. Okay. Item 11A, Community Development Board consideration to approve a resolution adopting a conceptual greenway plan for the St. Sebastian River. Mr. Keating, Mr. DeBose.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an item being presented to the board to consider adopting a resolution or approving a resolution that would adopt a conceptual greenway plan for the St. Sebastian River. The St. Sebastian River is a significant resource in the county. It's the major tributary to the Indian River Lagoon. It's part of what's overall considered the estuary of national significance. It's within an aquatic preserve. It's also considered an important area for endangered Florida manatee, and it also contains certain tropical marine fish species that are found virtually nowhere else. The county has already designated the St. Sebastian River, particularly the South Prong, officially in its comprehensive plan as a greenway and waterway trail system. What's proposed to you today is essentially a conceptual greenway plan that was put together on behalf of a number of local organizations, and I believe they'll have someone speaking briefly on that. But it essentially meshes with certain county objectives with regard to the greenway. And what this does, it essentially puts a conceptual plan together for purposes it can be used as a guide for land acquisition and management planning. Within the corridor, we've already, through the County Environmental Lands Acquisition Program, acquired a few key properties. We acquired the Anson Riverfront Tract, which was up near the Sebastian Canoe Launch. It's also contiguous to the Fisher St. Sebastian River 95 acres that the county bought to supplement the River Buffer Preserve State Park. And just recently the board approved purchase of the Ryle parcel, which we're moving towards closing, and all those properties are within the greenway. This has been looked at by the county's Land Acquisition Advisory Committee. They've voted 14-0 to support the plan. They did make the point in their recommendation to make sure that this was a conceptual plan and it didn't commit the county to any specific action. And it doesn't. It's strictly a guide for planning purposes and management to coordinate with other agencies and organizations in looking at this area. The newly created Conservation Lands Advisory Committee also looked at the plan, and they also unanimously supported the plan. In addition to having environmental protection features, one of the main benefits of this is to create a public access recreational corridor to appreciate the resource. There's also cultural heritage features that would be benefited through this project. There's what appears to be remnant military trail alignments that are encompassed in this greenway. And the other thing to note is that there's essentially a crossroads within this project with the abandoned railroad greenway that's being planned, the east-west route. And that kind of shows up in the conceptual map that's on the overhead. Finally, there's another benefit to the county formally adopting this plan, and that's to garner more points in our Florida Communities Trust grant applications with the state. The Florida Communities Trust, or FCT, is the county's most frequent cost-share partner on environmental land acquisitions, and they award points for greenways that are recognized officially as greenways and moreover have formally adopted conceptual plans. So by adopting this plan, we'll actually get a few more points on our applications for any projects within the greenway. That's the summary. Staff supports the proposed plan and recommends that the board adopt a resolution. And I do believe there's other folks here who would like to speak on the matter.
I'll move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. We have some people in the audience who would like to come forward. Dr. Cox.
Don't talk.
It's been pointed out that this may be a bad maneuver here. Good morning, Commissioners. My name is David Cox, Periwinkle Lane. And I do just want to take a moment to recognize the participation of a number of groups who helped put this Greenway plan together. And I want to thank Roland for his support throughout this process, as well as Bill DeBrawl, who was very helpful, and all staff. The groups who were instrumental in putting this Greenway plan together have been the Friends of St. Sebastian River, the Indian River County Historical Society, Indian River Land Trust, the Marine Resources Council, Pelican Island Audubon Society, and Sebastian River Area Chamber of Commerce. And this has been a really great opportunity to align the ecologic and economic interests in a plan to protect and promote our St. Sebastian River. And I think it's interesting that we've had this kind of a broad coalition of community groups, including the cultural in Historical Society, as well as the Chamber in the Sebastian River area. And I won't go over the purpose of the plan. It's laid out for you, but mainly say that what we have, to reiterate what Roland shared with you, is we've got opportunities here to enhance both the natural and the cultural heritage while providing really unique recreational facilities, and then also providing a destination for ecotourism, which I think is going to be a growing part of our local economy. It should be emphasized that the Greenway Plan does not impose any additional regulations, any regulations whatsoever, or any authorities. So it's a conceptual plan, which gives us a sort of a planning goal, and it also gives us something I think a little more tangible in our efforts to work with willing landowners along this corridor to try to protect a little bit of old Florida. And I appreciate your efforts in this matter, and look forward to your vote eagerly. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them. I don't know if anyone else might want to make a remark regarding this Greenway Plan. I know Ruth Stanbridge is here from the Historical Society. Some of the other folks were planning on coming, but I think you beat them to the punch by getting to this item before 9:30.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Cox.
Thank you very much.
It's a great area, and like you and I, as you and I talked about, I've been up through there several times, and there's very little access to the river from the buffer preserve, and we need to have more access directly to the water. The south end, I've been kayaking in that several times, and it's very beautiful down there.
I do want to say that in my conversations with all of you, I've been heartened by how each of you, from your own unique perspective, has recognized the value of this proposed greenway, and that's just great.
Thank you.
It says a lot about our community.
With that said, I withdraw my second. No.
Mr. Johnson.
Bob Johnson, Corwin Subdivision. This proposal was before the MPO Citizens Advisory Committee, and they also approved it, and everybody supports it wholeheartedly. One of the things that was brought up at this meeting, however, was the fact that it would be nice if the rest of the county could be identified as potential greenway too. In other words, this could be phase one of the greenway, and it would be, while everything's open and the developers are moving along and so forth, it would be nice if the county could also identify the potential greenway for the rest of the county. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ruth Stanbridge, do you have a comment you'd like to make?
I'll be very brief. I just want to invite all of you to the grand opening and the ribbon cutting ceremony for the Trans Florida Rails to Trails, and it will be on April 1st at 11 o'clock at the North County Park. You'll get to walk on that recreational trail that we hope eventually will let you walk all the way to Sebastian if you want to. And we also have a historic exhibit there that explains that whole area of North County, the buffer preserve, the St. Sebastian Greenway, the logging, and all the wonderful things that happened in our past. And we've preserved a little bit of that history for the future. So I hope to see you out there on April Fool's Day at 11 o'clock. Thanks.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you. Any further comments from the audience on this? All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Where are we? Nothing under item B, C, D. We're down to Public Works, 11I. Public Works, continuing professional survey services, contract 0390 Work order number 3, engineering. Creech Engineers, Inc., Laconia Street Extension from County Road 510 to within the city of Sebastian, Indian River County project number 0523.
Move approval.
Second that.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carried 5-0. Item I-2, continuing professional survey services contract 0390, 2005-2006, work order number 8, engineering, Masteller, Moeller, Reed, and Taylor, Inc., land acquisition and design, boundary topographic survey for proposed Bureau Lakes 101st Street extension lying north of County Road 512, Indian River County project number 0614.
Move approval.
I believe that should be Avenue.
What did I say?
So it says street, but I think it should be Avenue. Is that correct?
You're right, 101st Avenue extension. Why didn't I catch that?
Not that I'm familiar with it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Item I-3, still under Public Works, continuing professional survey services, contract 0390, 2005-2006, work order number 2, engineering, Creech Engineers, Inc., Indian River County Fairgrounds property, Hobart Park, boundary, topographic survey services, Indian River County project number 0603.
Move approval. Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Item I-4, right-of-way acquisition agreement, County Road 512 corridor improvements, project number 9611, CRF Panther 2 LLC.
I move to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion?
Yes. If I may, I'd just like to put a quick thank you out to the mayor and the city of Sebastian for helping us get this piece of property. It had it came across for annexation, and it got annexed, and basically it was sliding through rather fast. And I contacted Nate, and Nate contacted the city of Sebastian, and they were coming for them for a site plan. And it was at that time that we didn't want to have to buy storage units later on down the road. So I appreciate the cooperation, and we were able to, I believe this takes care of all the parcels necessary for Phase 3 of County Road 512.
Very good. Very good.
Monumental task.
Thank the city of Sebastian. All right, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 11J, Utility Services. Approval of bid award for Indian River County bid number 2006038. Annual bid for sludge dewatering and hauling, Utility Department.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. 11J2, Greenleaf Subdivision Petition Water Service, 55th Court, south of 13th Street Southwest, Indian River County project number UCP-2414, Resolution 4, Final Assessment.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Item 11J3, approval of additional survey work under work order number 6 with Masteller, Moeller, Reed to provide survey services at the Grand Harbor Mosquito Impoundment Site, UCP 2208.
Move approval.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. County Attorney, 12A, appeal from denial of request for new impact fee increase exemption, Great Southern Builders, LLC.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an appeal to the board sitting in its appellate capacity as it's an appeal from a department head decision. Great Southern Builders contracted to build a single-family structure and submitted documents past the revised deadline. I believe Deborah Fairchild from Great Southern Builders is here to explain the basis of her appeal.
Good morning. I'm Debbie Fairchild. I am a certified building contractor in the state of Florida, and I build exclusively in Indian River Club. I'm a small builder, single member LLC. I build 1 to 2 houses a year. I was last June, Patty Valdez came to me as a buyer's agent with the Bronze to look at some property that I had in Indian River Club, and contracted with me prior to the deadline on the original ordinance that stated that we had until July 1, unless further extended by a duly enacted ordinance, to file for the impact fee exemption. The Bronze, after signing the contract, decided to make extensive elevation revisions, changing the house from a country cottage look to a West Indian look, which required us to do complete re-engineering, redraw all of our truss drawings, rebid the project, change our manual J's, all of those items, which is taking us, extensive time, and getting approvals from the Bronze, who were also in Massachusetts, all the while thinking we had the time to get this done. So I got ready for permit, finally got everything done, approved, engineered on February the 11th, and looked on the website and found that according to the form we had till September 30th to file, and thinking, oh no, what's going on here? Went ahead and took it to the county attorney's office and was denied. I was faxed the denial with no revised ordinance, and it required an additional trip down here to get the amended ordinance from the county attorney's office to find that the ordinance had been changed without our knowledge. The Bronze are trying to hold me responsible for this fee, and I feel like the original ordinance does not say that it's going to be shortened in any way. It said the exemption should expire unless further extended. So I would like to be assessed under the old impact fee schedule, and also tell you that I have waited an additional month to build the house, waiting on a decision from the board. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Move to appeal from denial request for new impact fee increase exemption from Great Southern Builders, LLC.
Second.
Motion and second. What's the difference in the impact fee? 40.
It's $4,912.
The latest impact fee versus the earlier impact fee.
Correct.
And Mr. DeBraw, what was your argument?
Simply that this was submitted past the revised deadline. Our ordinance now says that in order to take advantage of the impact fee exemption, the matter had to be submitted to the county before December 31st, 2005. Since this matter was submitted to us afterwards, even though the canceled check and the contract were both dated before July 1, it was not timely filed. So, I mean, we can't do anything except deny them and allow them to come here and express their views and exercise their right to appeal.
So it was late by 2 months?
Yes.
Month and a half, something like that.
But we were unaware that that it had been changed.
Yeah.
The original form that went out.
Right.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Granted.
Thank you so much for your time.
County Attorney, item 12B, permission to advertise for public hearing, extension of moratorium on small lot single-family subdivisions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Back in October 2005, the Commission voted to enact a moratorium on small lot subdivisions. This was a 6-month moratorium, giving staff sufficient time to revise the small lot subdivision ordinance in working in concert with the Growth Awareness Committee. The parties have come forward and said that they would like additional time to study the matter, and so we've requested permission to advertise the matter for public hearing. This one is a little bit different since it is a land use regulation that affects property greater than 10 acres in size. There must be 2 public hearings. The statute says that one of those public hearings must be held after 5 o'clock, unless the board decides by supermajority vote to hold both of the public hearings during the daytime, as was done the first time this moratorium ordinance was passed. We will still have to go through the ordinance procedure to extend the moratorium. Growth Awareness Committee and staff state that an additional 6 months would be sufficient time in which to get the small lot subdivision ordinance in good shape and ready to have the board review. So what I am asking today for is, number one, permission to advertise, and number two, the board's decision as to whether they want to hold one of the public hearings at 5 o'clock or later, or vote by supermajority to hold both of them during the daytime.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to obviously go forward with advertising that, and I wouldn't mind having one of these meetings being held in the evening.
I agree. Second.
Any discussion?
You need a time, Bill?
No, you only need to vote to hold both hearings during the daytime. If the pleasure of the board is to have one at 5 o'clock or afterwards, that's fine. No vote is necessary on that matter. Just instruct staff to go forward with advertising.
Mr. Chairman?
Okay, you want to have one in the day and one at night, what you're saying. Yeah, yes.
Along those, so we're extending this for another 6 months is what you're requesting?
Correct.
All right, we have a motion.
What's
Any further? Go ahead.
I mean, I don't know. I guess I have just some quick questions. I mean, the small lot subdivision, we're trying to make this so that, in fact, it goes for affordable housing, and now we're going to put the brakes on it for another 6 months. I just assume let's go ahead and get this done as best we possibly can and move forward versus waiting a full year to drag our feet on something that we're trying to set aside for affordable housing.
I understand. It doesn't mean that, in 6 months this matter will appear before the commission. The Growth Awareness Committee and staff have just indicated that they'd like additional time to revise the ordinance and have it take shape.
I'd rather it be for 3 months, but we've got a motion.
Yeah, why would it be taking them so long if it's 6 months already?
It's a very complicated issue, and there's a lot. We've got to be careful. We're changing our land development regulations. As you know, with all these pending ordinances, we've had to come back several times and try and fix things we've made changes on quickly. And we just want to make sure we do it right. I think everyone's on board. This is a very important issue, and it's a very complicated issue. We have to be careful what we do, and that's why we think everyone involved feels we need the time to do it properly.
And you might keep in mind the objective of this and the moratorium is to try and create some affordable lots. So the only thing we're doing by keeping this off the market for another 6 months is stopping $300,000 townhouses going.
Yeah, no, I'm not opposed to extending it. I am opposed to extending it for the time frame. I'd like to see it 3 months and then renew it after that if we need to. I'll give you all the time you want, per se, but I think we see what happens whenever we give them 6 months, nothing. I think another 6 months of nothing is the wrong way to go.
Well, I don't know that that's fair to say that nothing happened. I think they've been working on it, and by going 6 months, they can finish it in 3 months, and we don't have to advertise for 2 more public hearings and so on and so forth. It just gives them the time they need. I think as our administrators pointed out, we've done some things here fairly quickly, and we've had to go back and reevaluate them, and we've created some situations that probably would have been better off not to create with our expediency.
Okay. Bob, you have a comment?
Yeah, I'm Bob Keating. I'm County Community Development Director. Just to remind you, it was a growth awareness committee that volunteered to do this, and I think they've had a lot of issues on their plate in the past few months. They did provide us with a draft a couple of weeks ago, and we really have significant comments on it, and we've got a meeting scheduled with Mr. Paladin real soon to try to work out some of the concerns that we have in the draft and just nail things down and make the ordinance workable the way we see it. Also, we haven't heard the other committee that was formed weigh in on affordable housing issues yet. Not that we're waiting for that other committee in order to make the changes to small lot subdivision, but the bottom line is we do have a draft now that we are looking at. We're going to discuss it with representatives of GAC, and we hope that it'll be much less than the 6 months of the moratorium, and probably will be able to at least initiate the process in the next few weeks.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
I'm going to vote against it just because I'd rather have it for 3 months versus the 6.
Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Sounds like a 4-1, but the motion carries. Under Commissioner items, I have none. Commissioner Wheeler?
The only thing I'd request is, Joe, I'd kind of like to get an update on where we are with the jail and the construction and how we're moving along on that. I know, just like with the fair this year, the pavilion's closed again, And I'm hoping by next year we'll be able to use the pavilion for the fair again.
It is going to be close. We are moving very quickly. In fact, I just got handed the impact fee. We're applying for the permit right now, and we're having the impact fee calculations. But I can bring back next week. Why don't I bring back a chronology for you next week?
Yeah, that's what I'm requesting now today. But yeah.
Commissioner Bowden?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Only thing I'd like is an update to Mr. Baird on the Oslo fishing area that is going on. I've had a couple fishermen ask me about it, and see where we are.
Oslo boat launch.
The Oslo boat ramp. We're trying to get our environmental permit right now, and we think that's going to take some time. There's some interested parties that we believe might oppose it, the entomology people and things like that. So, but we have it now in environmental permitting, and we think that that's going to take extensive time. And because of that, we're not giving you a date as to when we feel it's going to be complete. But we'll be coming back to the board. We're right now attempting to get our environmental permitting.
We had a 3-hour discussion on that before, haven't we, Joe? So I think they know how we feel. And we voted, I believe, 5-0 to move forward with that, correct?
But the other groups are active.
Yes.
Groups. All right. Anything else,
Thank
Sandra?
you. No, thank you.
Commissioner Davis, any comments?
Just some good things going up at the county fair. I invite everybody up to see it. We have the auction on Saturday for the livestock steer shows tomorrow night. Come join us.
Good. It's a great fair. Was there last night?
And I'll be coming to you back for travel on it.
Very pleasant place to be.
Keep your stubs.
To the fair?
Commissioner Lowther?
None.
No comments.
I can see we're starting to act like the city now, Mr. Chairman.
Sebastian?
How's that?
Where we get to the end of the report, we ask everyone what they want to do under their items. That's what the city's done. I appreciate that,
Bring up
Mr.
some
Mayor.
items. Okay. Under special district and boards, we have nothing, and we're going to adjourn at 9:47.
Good.
God, this is the quickest yet.